Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. Tasmania is being warned by a leading economist we could be headed for economic doom and gloom. The government under the spotlight as new figures show several key indicators are going in the wrong direction.
Finding a builder at the moment can be tough. Not that those on the tools are complaining.
Personally, for our company, things are looking pretty good for the short to mid-term future.
In November, Tasmania did record a fall in building approvals, down 22% to the lowest level since 2017.
You've had uncertainty around interest rates increasing, you've had cost of construction during that COVID peak, and you've had skill shortages.
When you have 13 interest rate hikes in a row, that would be fairly obvious to assume that people are not going to be in a position to be putting in applications for building approvals.
The fall, one of 3 worrying sets of economic data released in recent days. Tassie recording nation trailing retail growth and a slump in job vacancies.
It's time for the government to actually realise that there is an issue with the state economy. We can't have a government simply talking about how great things are when it's not the case.
I think that we can cherry pick things like that, and that's certainly what we've seen the Labor Party do.
A lead economist warns every indicator is showing it's worse here. Our economy labelled
slow and slower than the rest of Australia.
In the last 2 years, Tasmania's population growth has slipped from 1.2% to 0.3%, the slowest rate in 8 years. Meanwhile, Australia is at the quickest rate in half a century.
Well, there's no immediate easy fix to that. It would seem that Tasmania could be going back to the place we were in the 1990s and in the early part of the 2010s.
The government with the unenviable task of turning the ship around, if they can see the iceberg up ahead. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
A court hearing against Grace Tame's childhood abuser has been delayed once again. Nicholas Ockert-Bester fronted a Hobart magistrate this morning. The 70-year-old is facing 3 counts of using a carriage service to menace, harass or cause offence, to which he previously pleaded not guilty. The case was adjourned until next month to allow for more time to consider Bester's medical report. Tasmania's long-running salmon farming debate is firing up. Activists are calling for Tassal to halt its use of seal bombs, but the sector is adamant the devices are crucial for worker safety.
An industry once again in the spotlight. Tassal under fire for using underwater explosives to keep seals away from its salmon pens.
The shockwaves which they send out actually do damage to the skeleton of the fish and the skeleton of the seals. It can actually cause the body to simply implode.
Environmentalists claim right to information documents show Tassal has deployed more than 56,000 seal bombs since 2018, despite the Aquaculture Stewardship Council stance against these types of devices.
Up until now, Tassal has simply not been honest with the certifier and not followed the rules.
Tassal wants a permanent exemption from the council's standards in a bid to keep its certification. If approved, it can market its salmon as responsibly farmed.
If the certifier won't allow underwater explosives anywhere else in the world, why the hell would it allow Tassal to do it?
Tassal was approached for comment. Instead, Salmon Tasmania released a statement on behalf of the industry. CEO Luke Martin saying wildlife interactions are a part of life for every farmer, and we operate transparently within the Tasmanian government's seal management framework. There was no mention of seal bombs. Both major parties jumping to the company's defence.
When all other options and methods of seal management have been completely exhausted, that is when seal bombs or seal crackers are used. And that is to ensure the safety of Tasmanians who work.
This is a certification issue, and I think if the industry can justify that as a protection measure for workers, I think it should be available to them.
Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
The state government says public servants can decide when to take their Australia Day holiday. State service employees can now move their holiday leave to a day other than January 26. The change was made as part of recent bargaining negotiations.
Unions called for that to be an option for public servants, and so we've facilitated that, and that's a choice, a personal choice that our public servants can make.
Ms Palmer also called for a national conversation around the January 26 holiday, saying it should be a time for all Australians to celebrate. It has been a record-breaking trip to the Gold Coast for a local father-son horse breeding duo. A Tasmanian colt bred at Grenville Stud by Graham and Bart McCulloch has fetched $900,000 at this year's Magic Millions yearling sales.
Massive thrill. Look, we knew he was a pretty special colt by the wooden bastard, the sire that everyone's just loving at the moment. He's doing such a good job, and obviously a half-brother to think about it.
The yearling has been purchased by leading Ireland thoroughbred stud owner Tom Magnier. Tasmanian products are continuing to prove they're a cut above the rest, with more international markets wanting a slice of the apple aisle. Local businesses are celebrating the trade boost as confidence in our export potential booms.
Shipping a taste of Tasmania worldwide, Forager Foods' freeze-dried products are high on the international shopping list.
You can capture the goodness and the product, lock it away into a product that's not going to spoil, and be able to transport that anywhere around the world.
The northern business is reaping the benefits of a recent trade mission to Northeast Asia, celebrating its fast expanding potential to unlock new markets.
The ASEAN region we see as a really important part for our business.
Proving proof is in the Tasmanian pudding. The government says local products are now firmly on the map.
Telling the Tasmanian story of our produce, our people and the products that we have here to the rest of the world is absolutely essential.
Since moving to its new facility last year, Forager Foods production has increased 8-fold and showing no signs of freezing just yet.
We've doubled our staff in the last 12 months and we see that increasing.
The ramping up of its production also hailed a welcome boost for our local farmers, reducing the amount of products otherwise destined for the bin.
They don't want to see their products go to waste either, and it can be turned into really nutritious products here.
The strawberry that might have a 3 or 4 day shelf life, freeze it, then dry it, and you can actually add 2 or 3 years onto the product.
Tasmania, front of mind and consumption. Victoria Easto, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, Nick Kelly joins me now from Blunston Arena. And Nick, it's a warm night for the cricket, but are the Hurricanes going to be running hot or not?
Oh, absolutely. They're looking for a bit of home ground advantage tonight, Kim, after going down to the Strikers just 2 nights ago in Adelaide. Both teams, of course, really need a win to keep their finals hopes alive, and they need to win well, so it should be an absolute blockbuster tonight. I'm joined by Ian Carlisle here tonight. Ian, what do you guys need to do differently to try and get the better of the Strikers tonight?
I think if we can hopefully not lose as many wickets in the power play, have a few set batters in later on in the innings, and then, of course, holding our catches always helps. But yeah, we play really well at home here, and I've heard it's going to be a big crowd tonight, so no doubt the boys will turn up for that.
You've got the likes of, the Lynn's, Chris Lynn, the Shorts. How do you try and contain them?
I don't know, it's not my problem, thankfully. But yeah, I think we've got world-class bowlers in Nathan, Riz and CJ as well, so I'm sure they'll be able to do a job. But yeah, players like that are always tough to contain, especially with short square boundaries here. A lot of those two especially love to hit square of the wicket, so it could be tough.
And a really good record here at Blunston, that'll help?
Absolutely, we love playing here, we love playing in front of our fans. We play a really good brand of cricket at this ground, we know it inside out, so yeah, our record speaks for itself here, so I think tonight will be no different.
Excellent, thanks very much for your time. So Kim, the crowd is already starting to fill up here at Blunston. They're expecting a crowd of about 11,000 more, which is really good. So hopefully we can get the Hurricanes across the line. I will of course be back very shortly with the rest of today's sports news.
Well, Tasmania's cherry farmers are having a bright start to 2024. Local growers have begun harvesting, confident they'll provide the state and the rest of the country with a sweet start to the year.
A sweet start to the year. Tasmania's cherry season is in full swing.
Having a great season for cherries this year.
The weather conditions leading up have been much better than last year, and they've almost been pretty much ideal.
Recent downpours are not a concern, with local growers faring better than their interstate counterparts. Recent wild weather in eastern Australia has caused havoc, souring the season.
Of our mainland colleagues have had a pretty challenging season weather-wise, but we've had a season a bit like this, beautiful days and the crops coming off nicely.
But the business isn't taking any chances in a bid to be cherry ripe.
100% of our production's covered by rain covers, so we have a roof over every cherry to protect us from unseasonal events.
Hanson Orchard has invested around $20 million into these rain covers to protect and produce the highest quality fruit possible, especially during wild weather. In comparison, a lack of protection on the mainland means they're being hit harder at the wrong time of the year.
Look, the biggest investment we have is rain covers. So we actually put the covers over the fruit, and so that's been in place for quite a number of years throughout Tasmania.
As other farms recover, Tassie will be stepping up to help Aussies get their cherry fix.
We're selling Tasmanian fruit in our stores in the mainland Australian states, and we're really looking forward to be able to do that.
Rebecca Gator-Neris, 7 Tasmania News.
The Huon Valley is preparing to come alive with the sound of music as a cherished event returns to the region. Now in its 42nd year, the Cygnet Folk Festival will see more than 100 performers take the stage. Many headline acts travelling long distances to share their talents with Tasmania's crowds.
I play fearless folk music with Irish traditional music at the core. So the music is in Irish and English, and it's very much rooted and coming from the music of my ancestors back in Ireland.
The genre is, incredibly broad. We've got everything from gypsy music to gypsy jazz to trad, Scottish, Irish.
The festival begins tonight and runs through till Sunday. Well, one of the stars of the Hobart International has spent the afternoon learning about a serve of a different kind. 2011 singles finalist Bethany Mattek-Sands stepped away from the court for a visit to Hobart bar Mary Mary. The flamboyant doubles player learning how to ace some classic cocktails with assistance from those in the know. The American's attention will return to tennis tomorrow as she continues preparing for next week's Australian Open.
Australian Daria Saville is currently locked in a quarter-final at the Hobart International. She lost the first set but has taken the second. Earlier in the day, top seed Elisa Mertens stormed into the semi-finals, beating Orange Charouz 2-0.
What a way to finish. The dream of a third Hobart crown lives on.
American Emma Navarro is also through to the semi-finals. The Bullets are gunning for the Jackies, snapping at their heels on the NBL ladder after sealing a 3-point win over Tasmania in Brisbane, leaving Scott Roth to continue lamenting his side's hot and cold season.
On paper, it's a narrow 3-point loss, but for the frustrated Jack Jumpers coach, it's another case of so close yet so far.
We've been a master this year at inconsistency. And finishing games, we probably have 6 or 7 of them who are either getting across the line or you get beat yourself, and most of the time, somehow or another, we're beating ourselves.
Scores locked, a 3-pointer at the death from Chris Smith. Was all it took to hand Brisbane their 3rd straight win, but the damage had been done long before, forcing the Jackies to fight back.
We had a little bit of a gut check tonight. They tested us, we didn't respond in the first half. I think our second half was much better, but it's just when you dig yourself a hole in that first half, it's kind of hard to claw your way out of it.
It hasn't been the easiest of starts for newcomer Tom Vodanovic, thrust into the mix at the pointy end of the season.
Unfortunately, like this week, we don't have any more practices. Basically, we're going to play this game, so we won't practice again till Monday. So there's 6 days of him trying to learn off a video.
Back on home court against Illawarra, tomorrow night is their best chance to get back in the winner's circle and a ticket straight to the semi-final. The Hawks are flying high, but the last team to beat them was the Jack Jumpers before Christmas.
There's definitely a sense of urgency, and one of the things I'm, up to this point, been pretty proud of this group is we're in every game. We're right there all the time.
More than 100 runners will race for glory at the Domain Athletic Centre this Saturday with the state's 5,000 metre title on the line. The Night of Fives meet, jointly organised by the Knockoffs Run Club and Old Virgilians Athletics Club, will also feature community divisions.
3 community races, ranging from your park runner through to 60-minute runners, and there'll be 2 state title races for male and female.
One of the major parts that keeps people coming back to Knockoffs Run Club is the community feel, and hopefully on Saturday night that's exactly what it is.
The Stage 100-yard championships will also be held during the event. The Cricket Australia 11 are trailing the West Indies in Adelaide, but 2 Tasmanians are leading the scoring for the Aussies in their first inning. Opener Tim Ward setting the home side up nicely with a half-century. Brad Hope missed out on his first Hurricanes call-up against the Strikers the other day, but is going one better, scoring 24 for his country instead, the team's second highest knock. Fellow Tasmanian Jake Doran also managed 8 runs. Ward and Hope then both took catches in the Windies' second innings. And Kim, that's all in sport tonight. The Hill is filling up very nicely behind me. The stands are about the same, so it should be jam-packed tonight. Don't forget to stick around straight after your home and away fix, because this game will be on then.
OK, and you enjoy the game in person. Thank you, Nick.
Good evening. Hobart and Burnie 27 degrees today, Launceston 28, which was the state's high, and Devonport a top of 22. Generally temperatures sat above average, some by up to 4 degrees. Bushy Park 26, Friendly Beaches and Grove 25, Smithton and St Helens 24, Low Head and Lyowini a high of 23, a little cooler over Strawn and the Bass Strait Islands. No rain across the state today, with scattered cloud over most areas, fairly clear though over the north and northeast. Conditions improving on the mainland too, with just some low cloud along the Victorian and New South Wales coastlines. Tropical storm activity over inland Queensland and the far north though. Tomorrow a cold front moves to be near our west coast and then slides to the southeast later. A centre of high pressure over the Tasman Sea and a monsoon trough is over the top end. Winds variable, tending west to northwesterly to 25 knots. Winds will turn southerly at similar speeds over the east in the evening. We do have a strong wind warning that's in the southeast from Tasman Island to southeast Cape. Hobart a partly cloudy Friday, a top of 27 degrees, 29 for Huonville. Campania warming up to 31 tomorrow. Launceston warm as well, partly cloudy, 29, 24 the high expected for Devonport. Georgetown 26 degrees. Burnie looking at 23 as the high, a possible shower for Strawn with 23 as well, and 24 the top for Wynyard. St Helens 28 degrees, sunny for Swansea 29 and 25 for Port Arthur. On Saturday, a few isolated showers over the west and later the north, but mainly fine elsewhere. Fine and partly cloudy on Sunday, apart from another isolated shower over the north. And similar weather into Monday, along with a light wind and an afternoon sea breeze. Sunny and hot for Perth and Adelaide tomorrow, 32 in Melbourne, a shower or two forecast for Sydney and Brisbane, and more rain for northern Queensland and Darwin.